You're listening to Full Circle Weekly News. These articles are compiled by Eric the Unready. I'm your host, Moss Bliss. This is episode 372, covering week 25, June 17th to 23rd, 2024. SUSE Linux Enterprise 15 SP6 distribution is out, based on the SUSE Linux Enterprise platform products. SUSE Linux Enterprise Server, SUSE Linux Enterprise Desktop, SUSE Linux Enterprise High Performance Computing, and SUSE Linux Enterprise High Availability extension are now available. The distribution is free to download and use, but access to updates and patches is limited to a 60-day trial period. The release is available in builds for AArch64, PPC64LE, S390X, and x86-64 architectures. SUSE Linux Enterprise 15 SP6 supports full binary package compatibility with the community-developed OpenSUSE Leap 15.6 distribution, which was released last week. A high level of compatibility is achieved by using a single set of binary packages with SUSE Linux Enterprise instead of rebuilding SRC packages. It is expected that users can first build and test a working solution using OpenSUSE, and then seamlessly switch to a commercial version of SUSE Linux with full support, SLA certification, long-term update releases, and advanced tools for mass adoption. KDE Plasma 6.1 desktop environment has been released. To evaluate the performance of new KDE releases, you can use builds from the KDE Neon and OpenSUSE projects, Argonne based on OpenSUSE Leap, and Krypton based on OpenSUSE Tumbleweed. Pale Moon 33.2.0 has been published, branching from the Firefox codebase to provide higher performance, preserve the classic interface, minimize memory consumption, and provide additional customization options. Pale Moon builds are created for Windows and Linux x86-64. The project code is distributed on the MPL v2. The project adheres to the classic interface layout without switching to the Australis and Photon interfaces integrated into Firefox 29 and 57, and with extensive customization options. The removed components include DRM, Social API, WebRTC, PDF Viewer, Crash Reporter, code for collecting statistics, and tools for parental controls and people with disabilities. Compared to Firefox, support for extensions using Xool has been returned to the browser, and the ability to use both full-fledged and lightweight themes has been retained. TinyGo 0.32 is now available, developing a Go compiler for applications that require compact output code and low resource consumption, such as microcontrollers and compact single-processor systems. Compilation for various target platforms is implemented using LLVM, and libraries used in the main toolkit from the Go project are used to support the language. The code is distributed under the BSD license. The compiled program can be directly run on microcontrollers, allowing Go to be used as a language for writing automation script. In its current form, more than 100 models of microcontrollers are supported, including various ARM and RISC-V boards. Special drivers are provided to interact with sensors and connected external devices, as well as to support interfaces such as I2C, GPIO, and SPI. Programs can be built in WebAssembly format to run in a browser and as executables for Linux. Barry Cowler published EasyOS 6.0, which combines Puppy Linux technologies with the use of container isolation to run system components. The distribution is managed through a set of graphical configurators developed by the project. The GNU project released libgcrypt 1.11.0, an implementation of the components underlying the encryption mechanisms used in GNU-PG. The library provides functions for using various cryptographic algorithms in third-party applications, including symmetric ciphers, hashing algorithms, authenticated encryption algorithms, and public key encryption. The new branch is fully compatible at the API and ABI level with the 1.10.x branch, and using the new version does not require rebuilding programs. SysLinux OS 12.4 was released, built on Debian 12 and aimed at providing a bootable live environment optimized for system integrators and administrators. Builds with GNOME and Mate desktops have been prepared for download. The environment works in live mode but also supports installation on disk using the Calamares installer. The Linux kernel is updated to version 6.7 and the package base is synchronized with Debian 12.4. It includes a selection of pre-installed applications for monitoring and diagnosing network operation, tunneling traffic, running VPN, remote access, intrusion detection, security testing, simulating network operation and traffic analysis, all of which can be used immediately after downloading. It's been 40 years since Robert Scheffler announced the creation of the X Window System Protocol. The protocol traveled from the release of X1 to X11 in just 3 years. After that, the state of X11 stabilized and over time only acquired extensions but did not otherwise change. For example, at one time, such widespread features as Xvideo, Xfont Server, XXB, Xinorama, XCB, Multipointer X Present, DRI2, DRI3, R&R, Xinput, etc. were presented as extensions. In 2011, an initiative arose to create the X12 protocol, but it did not go beyond discussions, and all activities on the development of the graphics subsystem focused on the development of the Wayland protocol. The proprietary browser Vivaldi 6.8, based on the Chromium Blink engine, has been presented. Vivaldi builds are prepared for Linux, Windows, and Mac OS. The project distributes changes made to the Chromium codebase under an open license. The browser interface is written in JavaScript using the React library, the Node.js platform, Browserify, and various ready-made NPM modules. The implementation of the interface is available in source code but under a proprietary license. The browser is being developed by former Opera Presto developers and aims to create a customizable and functional browser that preserves the privacy of user data. Key features include a tracking and ad blocker, note, history, and bookmark managers, private browsing mode, synchronization protected by end-to-end encryption, tab grouping mode, sidebar, configurator with a large number of settings, horizontal tab display mode, and also in-test mode, built-in email client, RSS reader, and calendar. In the new version, the main new work was in the built-in email client, which is now on version 2.0. The ExectOS project, creating a new operating system from scratch, is out, equipped with the XT microkernel with an architecture based on the Windows NT kernel. ExectOS kernel components are separated from the device driver subsystem, allowing the main kernel to be updated without the need to recompile drivers for a new kernel. The project code is written in C and is distributed under the GPLv3 license. The XT kernel architecture provides preemptive multitasking and consists of two underlying layers, the microkernel and user space components. Kernel-level components run in a separate protected memory area and have full access to hardware and system resources. Unlike the NT kernel, XT does not have a separate hardware abstraction layer between the hardware and the rest of the operating system. The user level includes subsystems that provide the ability to run applications written for various operating systems. For example, such subsystems can implement layers to support a POSIX-compliant environment or to enable programs running based on the Win32 API. The project is also developing its own XT bootloader, which supports UEFI, and an XT chain build toolkit based on LLVM/Clang/LLD. Darktable 4.8 has been published. Darktable acts as a free alternative to Adobe Lightroom and specializes in non-destructive work with raw images. Darktable provides a large selection of modules for performing all kinds of photo processing operations. It allows you to maintain a database of source photos, visually navigate through existing images, and, if necessary, perform operations to correct distortions and improve quality while preserving the original image and the entire history of operations with it. The project code is written in C and is distributed under the GPLv3 license. The interface is built using the GTK library. Binary builds have been prepared for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. AppImage, OBS, Flatpak, and Snap packages will be published soon. Amelia 5.8 has been published, an alternative console installer for Arch Linux written in Bash and distributed under the GPLv3 license. Navigation through installable packages, settings, and installation modes is done through a menu system that allows you to switch between configuration stages before starting the actual installation. It supports manual and automatic partitioning using ext4 and Btrfs, installing standard desktop environments, encrypting the swap partition, root and home directory, setting the locale and keyboard layout, and setting Linux kernel parameters. The installer starts by downloading the script for the standard Arch Linux ISO image using the curl utility or copying from a USB drive. There is a demo mode that allows you to try out the installer on an existing system without performing the installation. You've been listening to Full Circle Weekly News. For more details, see the next issue of the magazine at fullcirclemagazine.org or check the links in the show notes. You can contact me at bardmoss@pm.me. I'll see you next week.